This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and this is our continuing series of song deconstructions or talk ups. This is episode 71, and Peg talks up the political electronic music of the track Let's Blame It on That Other One. Now, a couple of years ago, when we were describing our sound, we came up with the idea of Expansive Sound Experiments, which is our indie record label, which represents doing music that encompasses jazz, hip-hop, progressive rock, punk, and many other genres, including new wave. And then we also came up with the idea of political electronic music, PEM, because a lot of Phantom Electric Ghost tracks actually have a political edge, because we're big fans of Bob Dylan, Conor Oberst, Bruce Springsteen, and the political music of the late 60s and 70s. We're big fans of that, and so we try to incorporate within electronic music not just dance and loop beats that are exciting for people who just want to rave or party, but we want to also do singer-songwriting aspects to make people think. So this particular song, Let's Blame It on That Other One, excuse me, has Josephine Electric, the lead singer of Phantom Electric Ghost, who is created, using a vocoder. In this case, we're using the Roland VTO3 vocal transformer. And we are talking out of the idea that sometimes minority groups catch hell or are scapegoated and are blamed for the sins of the upper classes. So in this particular example, kind of like a Dylan song, we have this idea that this rich person, this rich man, he's done something. He's like, it's alluded to in the song that there's a dead woman on the ground. She's been murdered. And somehow he's not going to get blamed for it. They're going to blame it on the other one, the colored one. And that's what's in the song. And basically it's saying that you're not, you should be afraid in this time because the rich folks have their plans made, and you're going to get faded by the hate, that you're going to get put down because whatever transgressions that this rich person does, they're going to cover up, and they're going to scapegoat a minority. They're going to scapegoat that colored one, which represents, it could be a Latino, it could be an Indian, it could be a black, it could be a Native American. It is not somebody that's part of the majority culture. And in the history of the U.S., that has happened a lot. There have been people that immediately have said, "Oh, a black person did it," and those police will go through the whole city looking for this black person that doesn't even exist because they didn't even do the crime. And they happen to find somebody, and like, well, how did they just find somebody, and that person didn't even do it? So this is kind of where the roots of my political electronic music is. There's some things that need to be addressed. I've heard people say as musicians, "Oh, you don't want to don't want to get into politics." Everything's politics. When you go to do music, there are some people that if you do punk music, they think you have, they're taking that you have a political stand, that you're being a rebel against traditional music. If you do electronic music, you just, about the dance community, they might think they're aligned with people in the gay community. So you can't get away from politics, and I can see people try to shy away from it, but I think in this world, you have to have some kind of position. And even a non-position is a position. Because if you are agnostic or you have apathy, that is a position that allows things to happen because you're not participating. And, if you could look at all the tyrants in the world, all the people that wish they would have stood up, I think this is a time when it's kind of hard as a musician not to take a stand. Politics, even as being a musician, is like how you get paid and how you are fairly treated. So, saying that you don't want to be involved in politics, I think is a big cop-out, and I really think people need to stand up a little more than that. So, people can argue with that and say they just want to have fun, but, it's hard to have fun when somebody's putting a Gestapo boot on your heel. And people are out there saying that certain people aren't human or redefining who you are in terms like transgender, in terms of considering, all Mexicans are rapists. And then you're going to sit there and say you don't want to take a stand. I mean, it's kind of hard not to take a stand. So I think there's a place for just having a party, but it's hard to have the party when the building is burning. And you can either agree or disagree, but if you look out there in the politics going on now with bombs being sent all over the country to Democrats, it's pretty obvious that things are getting out of hand. And if you just want to party, I think your party might get interrupted by what's going on. So yeah, we're taking a stand with this, and we're kind of taking an idea that we're not just blaming one political party or the other. We're looking at a total class of people. We think, in terms of what we're talking about in this song, we believe the fix is in at the upper classes of our society. There's this group of very, very super rich people that are manipulating the system. And this is not a conspiracy theory. This is kind of fact. There are people at the top that are taking most of the wealth in the United States. They're concentrating that wealth. They're creating gates. They're creating doors and blocking certain people from getting into those doors. From the gated communities that isolate them to the structures that prevent people from getting into certain levels of business, whether you're a woman or a minority, the gates to higher education, to the elite colleges. There's many, many gates being put up that are counterintuitive to the idea of democracy. So if you look at the concentration of wealth, you look at the ability for people to get out of their own economic class. There's always the Horatio Alger story of a person that makes it, but for every Horatio Alger, there's the millions of people who are stuck in place and aren't able to move. And not that we want handouts, we want ability to move based on ability. So political electronic music is, in this particular song, let's blame it on that other one. We are using our tools. In this case, we used the Drummer from Another Mother from Moog, which we find to be an awesome drum machine. We increased the drum beat to a little faster beat than what we normally do. It's more consistent with the EDM techno beat. And then we utilized our Juno GI to do some pretty fat polyphonic pads. And then Josephine did her stream of consciousness political electronic diatribe, which goes on to talk about, that one person that's not going to get the blame, and then the colored one that is going to get the blame. We are very excited about the OPZ. We've been seeing more demos of what that machine can do. We think it's going to be able to increase our capability in the electronic dance music realm. We think it's going to be able to give us a really alternative way of doing performances with a very small footprint, so that if we had to travel to Austin, or if we had to go overseas, we have a very small footprint. We think in combination with our Arteria 6U and a Roland Axe Edge would be a good touring situation. So we're very happy about that. We're also very interested in the Prophet XXL, which we think is going head-to-head against the Moog 1. And we find that the Prophet is more like the Kronos or an FA08. It is a workstation. And because of the sampling part of the synth, it will be able to do the pianos and acoustic instruments that, as a songwriter or composer, that you need. And that's why people have a Kronos. That's why they have a FA08. That's why they have a Motif or the latest, Yamaha, which I forget the name of. Sorry, Yamaha. And so, if you're a pure electronic musician and you want to do, like a song like Cars, so if you want to be like The Cure, you want to do a typical new wave songs, heavy new wave, you don't want the piano. The Moog 1, I think, is that zone. Is going to do that level of synthesis, polyphonic analog synthesis, which I believe the Prophet is not in that zone. I mean, there are DCOs and these are samples. It's a totally different zone. But as a creative instrument, I think it's on par with the Moog 1. It's just that I believe the Moog 1 is for doing pure synthesis, not doing a hybrid of sampling with synthesis. And in some cases, as a songwriter, if you listen to a lot of Phantom Electric Ghost songs, we use a lot of piano. And so right off the face of it, you would say, well, you know what? The Prophet's like 4,000, the Moog is 8,000. we tend to use a lot of piano sounds. Like the Prophet X is a better machine. And at the beginning of this year, we were thinking for a polyphonic synth to replace our Juno, which is our primary polyphonic synth, and we've been using it since 2008. And we've done a lot of things to make it, useful in the modern era by running it through an MX1 performance mixer, by doing other things to it to keep it, valid. Excuse me. We've been looking for a polyphonic synth to replace it. Looked at a System 8, but it doesn't have the polyphony that we need. We were looking at the Rev 2, which we were very, very excited about, thinking that would be the machine to replace it. But then the Prophet X came along and we're like, okay, that's pretty much, that should be the synth to replace it. And then the Prologue 16 voice came out and we're like, well, maybe that's the one to replace it. But this Prophet X L with the larger keyboard, I think 76 key or 71, looks like really the right instrument for what we do. The Moog 1 is definitely something we want, but whether or not we could put it on the budget, it's more possible to get the profit. So, in the future, if we are able to justify from our royalties and our income from touring and all the other things we do that we can invest in the Moog, we will go that way. We're hoping that Moog eventually will make a rack-mounted version of it, or will take the technology from it and bring it down a step so that there is maybe an 8-voice, one tremble version of it, which would still be an awesome machine. So, given the fact that we haven't won the lottery, we're looking at the reality that the Prophet XL really fits what we're doing. In the meantime, the synths that we definitely can get are going to be the Roland Axe Edge and the other synth that we're really interested in is the Moog Grandmother. And from a performance standpoint, if we're going to do a show, we want the Roland Axe Edge like yesterday. If we're recording and we're still going to record and not do performances, we think the Moog Grandmother is an awesome addition to our Eurorack setup. Because currently we have a Arturia 6U with a Moog Mother 32 and a Moog drummer from another mother. Plus, in our 6U, we have the Arturia Mini Brute 2S, and we have the Make Noise Morphogene sampling module and the utility module, the Maths. And we've been able to combine the Maths module. We have it modulating a Mother 32, and then we run a MIDI control to our Juno GI keyboard. So we use our full 61 key Juno keyboard connected to the MIDI on the Mother 32, have the output of the Eurorack going through the Arturia 2S into an MX1 mixer, into a Zoom mixer. But before that even happens, we have the signal of the Mother 32 going into a Math module. And we use the Math module's utilities to significantly alter the drummer from another mother and the Mother 32. And we manipulate the Mother 32, like I said, through the Juno keyboard. So we're able to use the 61 key keyboard on the Juno and the pitch bending capability on the Juno to actually play the Mother 32 like we have a Model D, but more like a Voyager, because we have the full 61 key keyboard of the Juno manipulating the Mother 32. And even though the Mother 32 is just a single oscillator synth, it seems to have the bones of a modular system Moog. The oscillator is very fat, though we've noticed that the DFAM oscillator is even fatter. And when it comes to bass lines and leads, the DFAM oscillator is amazing. But we've been, in this song, we're primarily using the DFAM for the beat. And then we use the Mother 32 for the lead line. And then we're using the Juno for the piano. And for the other, the synth pad that we used to play the chords. And this is where, in the future, our chord parts of our songs would go from being done on a Juno to either being done on a Prophet XL or a Moog 1. Or, a System 8. If our budget is limited, the System 8 is kind of considered to be the desert island synth. So, we're going on about all these different things. But, again, we are fan supported. And if you like what we're doing, because we got about 1,600 fans right now listening to us, we interview indie artists from around the world. We're going to be interviewing Hydra in November. We're going to be interviewing Araya in November. And we're also going to be interviewing Synth Girl. And we're very excited about the stuff we're doing. We're supposed to be doing the collaboration with The Heritage. We're going to be working with Stefan Kidd and his collective of people in New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Hip Hop Collective and Rap Collective. So we're very excited about the stuff we're working on. We're hoping to do some live shows going into 2019. We're going to be doing more Facebook live shows. But if we're fan supported and we're offering this capability, for those who subscribe at $4.99 and $9.99, we can provide you with a CD of original Phantom Electric Ghost music from our first 3 albums from Amazon.com. In addition, if you don't want to give us your mailing address, we can give you downloads of those albums. And they're not on the net anymore. So some of the tracks are scattered through SoundCloud, but the full album as an album, they're not there on the net anymore. Though we're thinking of putting them back up, but for now we're going to use them as promotional efforts for our fan subscriptions. In addition, we're looking for a co-host. Been looking for a female co-host. Because back in the day, we used to do a show with All Control K, a great artist we did a collaboration with back in 2017. To Infinitum is still available on all services, and we wish All Control K the best. We know she's doing a lot of cool work in her alter ego, in a different genre, a different field. She does a lot of real cool stuff. You should check her out on Twitter and Instagram. She's a pretty awesome artist, and we'd love to do another collaboration with her, but, time and different things happen, and you don't know if you're going to still work with the people you used to work with. But we're always looking for people to collaborate with. If you like our sound, if you like what we're doing, if you want to get involved, you want to talk about what your band is doing, give us a voice memo contact. All you have to do is favorite Phantom Electric Ghost, and then you can actually do a voice memo to us through the Anchor app. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcast. We're on Anchor FM and several others like Radio Public. So just, keep on listening to us, keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll talk to you later.